Same-sex marriages are now underway in New York, the largest state in the country to make them legal. The law went into effect at midnight, and today nearly 1,000 couples in New York City alone plan to make it official. Mayor Michael Bloomberg was a major force behind the new law, and this afternoon he will officiate at the wedding of two of his top aides, John Feinblatt and Jonathan Mintz. The wedding will take place at Gracie Mansion, where I caught up with them. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Mayor, this was all your idea, wasn't it, to marry your two aides?
Well, I don't know.
Did you cop the question?
I don't know that I could take credit for that, but John and I had a talk, and I said, I don't know what your plans are, but if you would like, I would make an exception to my rule of nothing but my kids and former mayors, and I would be honored if you wanted me to perform the ceremony.
Were you shocked? What did you think? Were you planning on getting married?
Well, sure, we had planned to get married. I think the mayor sort of pushed the schedule along. My initial reaction was to just say yes there on the spot, but I thought to myself, in matters of marriage, you probably shouldn't make unilateral decisions.
That's the difference. You're going to learn that with time.
Very wise choice, very wise choice. So the two of them then popped the question, which was very romantic, as you can imagine.
You've been together, the two of you, for more than a decade. What difference really will this make?
Well, I think, we have two children, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And to our daughters, this will make a huge difference to them to feel like everything's equal, that we're all treated the same.
If you remember when the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution, women couldn't vote or hold office. Homosexuals faced a death penalty in some places. African Americans could not vote. Non-property holders could not vote. And over the years, we have rectified injustices or improved on equality, and there's always more things you can do, but to me America has always stood for the freedom to practice your religion, say what you want to say, do what you want to do, as long as it doesn't hurt others, and also not impose any one person's religion on others, and in this case it's doing both.
Do you worry, are you concerned, for instance, John and Jonathan, that there might be a backlash?
No, I think that people's views are evolving on this, and I think they're evolving very rapidly. If you look at the polls now of people who are 35 and under, 70% of them approve of marriage equality, and I think in less than a generation, people are going to look back and say, what was this all about? Just the way we think, what was it all about, that different races had a drink at different water fountains.
I want to ask you about a leading contender for the Republican nomination, Michelle Bachmann, who has said in the past, quote, she's called homosexuality personal bondage, despair and enslavement. She's related it to Satan. What do you make of her comments?
Well, the first thing, if she believes in something, she should stand up for them. Michelle obviously feels very strongly about this. I just couldn't disagree more. But, she has a right to run for president, and if the public wants to side with her, they will. But the values that she espouses, that the Republican Party espouses, are exactly the values that should be promoting this. They want the government out of your personal life. Government should not tell you who you can marry. And they think that marriage is a stabilizing influence on society, and they value the sanctity of marriage. And here are two people who want to get married.
When you talk to fellow mayors, what do you think is the likelihood of this becoming, the norm?
It's going to take off simply because of the economics and the young people as they have more and more influence on the political process as they get older, as they vote, as they support campaigns. Nothing is ever 100%, but this is a trend that's going, and it's going to grow very rapidly, partially because New York is such a bellwether and so visible, and so when we do something, a lot of people, they don't necessarily copy it, but they look to see whether it would be appropriate for them as well.
John and Jonathan, did you ever think this day would come?
I can tell you that the answer is no.
Later today, the mayor will marry John and Jonathan here in the backyard of his official residence, Gracie Mansion. When you look, years down the line, how do you think you will define this moment?
We see it as this pivot point on this issue. Certainly it will be in our family and for our children and for New York. I hope it'll feel like a pivot point for America.
I then spoke to the mayor about the economic showdown in Washington. You've said that if the debt ceiling is not raised, it would be catastrophic. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, I don't think anybody will look ever again at America and the dollar as the reserve currency, where this is the standard by which all other risks are measured. The world won't come to an end. We will find ways to pay people afterwards and get government going again. But it puts a doubt in the back of people's minds that you would find it very difficult to erase. It's one seismic event that says you can never depend 100% on America's word anymore.
The White House says there have to be revenues as well as spending cuts. Do you believe
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, there's just no ways, if you look at the numbers, you can't cut enough to balance the budget. And if we're going to eliminate the deficit and reduce the debt, you have to raise money from someplace. It is also true, incidentally, that America is very low tax compared to other developed countries. So nobody likes to pay taxes. Everybody says my taxes are too damn high. And they're right, except that if we want services, and the services we want to protect democracy. You have to have men and women willing and able to go overseas and able to be supplied.
You're a very wealthy man. Would you agree to have your taxes raised?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I pay, I give a big chunk of my money away to charity, and the rest gets taxed at fundamentally the highest rate. I don't have any tax shelters other than the money I give to charity is not taxable, but the rest I pay my taxes, and I get pretty good value for my taxes. I live in the greatest democracy in the world, and my kids have all the opportunities, and you talked before about equality and marriage and everything else. We get a lot for our tax dollars.
But for instance, if the Bush tax cuts on the wealthy were left to expire, that's fine by you?
I think right now is not exactly the right time to let those tax cuts expire. But if you told me 6 months from now or a year from now when the economy was better and job creation was better, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
And in this campaign season, the mayor left no doubt about his own political future. Your spokesman told the New York Times that you will, quote, never run for office again. Is that true?
I have, maybe the president of a book club, something like that. But yeah, no, I've had an opportunity to have what I think is the best job in government. I think it's a better job than the president has. My sympathies go out to him. He's got to deal with Congress every day.
So you won't run for president of the United States?
I have no plans whatsoever, and the answer to your question is unequivocally, no, I will not run for president of the United States, nor do I think I get elected, but no.